Well, I blew it up. We weren't recording much of the trip on the way home. Figured we had a smooth sailing on the way down and smooth sailing all the way over to Bradenton for Cleetus and Cars. So, just, hey, why not? We're just going to cruise on back. Well, once we got to Jacksonville, this happened. Well, wasn't recording much of the trip home, but decided to stop for fuel. Went to add some oil to it and found a little bit of a mishap here. This rocker arm was cocked sideways and the push rod is down in there. So I guess this will get thrown in with the bonus footage over here. Got little Robbie running to the parts store to try and get a magnet or something, get the push rod out, get it back on, and back on the road we go. If not, we'll just be running on 7 mint. And so we just pulled the push rod off, the rocker arm off for number 3, and got the push rod out and carried on with our journey. So got all the way through Georgia, got off into South Carolina, and about 40 miles into South Carolina we pulled off the interstate. 5 miles later get to a stop sign, truck shuts off, and temp gauge wasn't working, nothing. Water pump had a small leak, but I didn't realize how severe it was. And when we realized when it shut off, it had overheated the engine, cooked the rod bearing, and blew a head gasket. So went ahead and parked it at this nice lady's house and went home, got a trailer, picked the truck up, brought it back to the shop, and it's been sitting here for about a week now. Figure we get started on it. So gonna go ahead and drain the oil, pull the oil filter off, cut it up, and see just how bad it spun a bearing and what it's gonna need. And then we'll run a compression test on the engine. So I'm gonna drain the oil and we'll see how that looks. Well, surprisingly, it doesn't look too bad. Got about, I don't know, 8 to 12 ounces of water, and then the rest come out as oil. I've run a magnet through it. I don't see anything major. You look through there, you see mostly air bubbles, but I've run the magnet all through it. Let's see, oh, there's a spring from the oil filter. So looked at all that, didn't see anything major. Then the oil filter looks normal. You see a reflection from the light above me, but other than that, I don't see any chunks, and I've been all through this thing. So I don't know, we might get away with just polishing the crank and putting new bearings in it, but either way it's got to come out. Have the machine shop date the heads, and being that it ran who knows how long without the number 3 push rod in there, it might need a cam, might need a lobe up on it. So gonna go ahead, put a push rod in there for number 3 on the intake side, adjust it, and run a compression test just to see how bad it is. And once we do that, get back to it. compression test, I got all but number 6. I could do that without the header in the way. That one was not even gonna bother moving the header. I know I gotta do it later, but more intriguing was the spark plugs. I'll start with that first. As expected, none of them, I mean, they're junky. You see this one here, messed up. But what I really got with was number 8. Folded the electrode over. And I don't remember which one this one was, but it also folded it. But the rest of them, I mean, you can see there's junk in the electrode on that one, junk on the electrode on that one. But for the compression, 180 on 1, 170 on 2, 150 on 3, 147 on 4, 170 on 5, 180 on 7, 130 on 8. So clearly it probably needs a valve job. Definitely needs head gaskets with oil in the water, and those numbers all over the chart are definitely not within spec. So guess now we get to pull the engine out and see how bad the rod bearing is. Hopefully that won't be too bad, since looks like I saved it in a little bit of time. Didn't see any metal and oil and stuff, as y'all saw. So that'll be a wrap for this video here. We're going to go ahead and end it off there, and we'll figure out a game plan whether or not I want to try and save this engine or just throw it in the corner with other blown up small blocks and put the 400 in here and have a good time. So once I figure that out, we'll get back to pulling this and going from there. Y'all have a great night, and see you later.